I've got the cat here. Could bother me. Sit. Welcome to another instalment, probably my second one. Sorry about that. Don't know if it came out on screen. Now, you think I would do a midweek camera roll midweek, which could be a Wednesday. However, life gets in the way. I do have some photographs which I'd like to share with you, give you my thoughts on the compositions. Now, I went to Hythe with the granddaughter on Friday, and as you know, if you followed me on my last photo shoot, I did Dover Castle on the Sunday, and I've got a couple of shots that I didn't share in that video, and I've also got some from my grandson's football match, so let's get into it. So as I said, I was with Jorja on the Friday. We went to Hythe because she needed a few more abstract images for her portfolio for her A-levels. And, hey, Grandpa, we don't need to do video, but do you fancy going out to do some shooting? And it's great to have an invite with a comrade. Comrade? I can never say that word. So we hit Hythe. Now, there are two specific points of interest here, quite apart from the seafront. You've got the Royal Military Canal, which is fascinating because of the Napoleonic connection, when they built the canal as a towpath from Seabrook all the way through Hythe and then all the way down to Rye. So it was kind of like a way of getting the troop and the militia down to the coast, although they could have just sailed from Hythe, right? But Rye was a busy seaport. So anyway, we've taken a couple of shots from the Royal Military Canal, and then we wandered into the town centre to have a look at the high street. So that's where I'm going to start. Picture number one. I always love capturing buildings when the sun is kind of washing down and the building's basking in the sunlight. So we're just crossing the road. I saw this church and I thought, yeah, let's take a shot. And that's me in a T, to a T. You know, photographer of things. I just take photographs of whatever captures my eye. So unlike an artist who, you know, will visualize a picture and then spend weeks and months painting and creating, I see that scene instantly and I can capture an image. So I caught this one. Then we're walking along and I saw this sign, Ladies Walk. And Jorja goes, is it an instruction or a command? On your marks, get set, ladies walk. I've never even known a road or a lane to be called Ladies Walk. Does that stem back from the Napoleonic times when the ladies would take a turn? And lo and behold, there was a lady walking down the path. Yeah, that's lovely. You see the light shining on the leaves and they're beginning to turn. So just turning around from that angle, you've got a footbridge that goes across the canal. I caught this old boy. He was actually looking at the water and he had his eyes over his face because of the sun. And I caught him just as he went like that. And I don't think he's smiling at anything in particular. It's just the fact that, you know, the sun was glaring in his eyes. And it's a little bit like a troll. But he would have to be under the bridge, not over it. Lovely stuff. So then I went up on the bridge and I had a look to see what he was looking at. And of course you can rent boats to kind of go up and down the canal. And here they are. I thought, oh, that's lovely. The way that they're all in pairs, just kind of snaking through the water. They're obviously tied up, but then the sunlight washing in from behind them. Yeah, I kind of liked that. Then I turned around and looked down the other side of the bridge and I saw all the leaves and some of the horse chestnut cases floating in the water. I say I saw, Jorja saw this, but of course if someone takes a picture of something you have to as well. I think hers was better, but nonetheless it's, you know, it's autumn. Yay! But then looking up from that scene, is this side of the canal and the light is washing down on the trees. And I think I've got another shot of this just coming along. But I like the way that it's just also straight. There's a leading line taking me away from where I'm standing, but actually going to nowhere. Yeah, trees. Trees are wonderful things to take pictures of. And here they are. So we'd come off the bridge. And that's the tree that was stood on the left there. But you can see all the different colours. There's red berries on that tree. The sun is washing down on the overhanging. It looks yellow now, to be quite honest. But you can see the green and the orange further right. So then, having crossed the bridge, you've got this towpath along the front. So I just spun round and took a shot kind of down the towpath. And what caught my eye here, you can see the couple on the right. Well, there's 3 people on the right, actually. One hidden by the tree. But you've got that shaft of light coming through. I thought, okay, I've got to do something with that. So I actually took 3 shots and turned it into a panorama. I thought, yeah, that's really lovely. But you know what? I need someone to be walking through that scene. Because that's about adding the human element to a picture, right? And I waited, and then a couple came by. So not a panorama, but just capturing a couple walking through the trees. It's a shame that they weren't holding hands. I think that would have been lovely. So then we trekked a little back towards the canal because there was kind of some happenings with the birds on the water. There was a pair of swans swimming by, so I thought, yeah, let's see if I can catch that. And I could only get 2 good shots. I took loads, but for whatever reason, one of the birds was blurred, so wrong aperture. And either that or both birds were blurred because they were moving, wrong speed. So I eventually got them gliding away. But then we walked a little closer and I got a close-up, because you have to get a picture of a swan if there are any. I thought, that's quite nice, actually. I was trying to capture, because it kept dipping down to, get the weed and stuff, and you'd get the water droplets coming from the beak. And I missed that. And then a duck came by. So I took a picture of a duck for no other reason. But then looking left and right as we were stood on the canal, we could see activity. So we've got these lads. The ones in the background were fishing. The ones in the foreground, I don't know, it looks like he's peeing, but... And I thought, what are you taking a picture of? Certainly not me. So I turned around and we got these 2 girls coming sort of paddleboarding down the canal. And I caught one of the girls looking right at me. As if to say, don't take a picture of me, mate. But that's what you do in street photography, or canal photography, or paddleboard photography. So I didn't take any more, but I waited till they sailed by and caught them, drifting off into the distance, which I thought was quite nice. So then we crossed the road. We left the canal, crossed the road, headed up into the High Street. Now, what I like about High Street, it's easy to say, isn't it, is that it's filled with independent shops. And in fact, apart from maybe a Boots or, a pub chain or something, I think all the shops are independent. So I thought, well, let's see if we can get a little bit of, shop front windows with their uniqueness. But as we were crossing, again, it was Jorja's eye, not mine, but I took a picture anyway. She said, look, Grandpa, that sun just coming through the buildings. She caught a fabulous picture. I tried to emulate her. Because that's what we do, right, as photographers. We get our inspiration from anywhere. But I like that the sun was, depending on my angle of attack, I could lose it behind the tree or I could lose it behind the building. But, you've got to be quick. Quick setting up the settings, and have I got it underexposed, overexposed? You can't really shoot straight into the sun. But I caught something and I thought, well, that's quite nice. And actually on one of these buildings just on the right was an overhanging clock. So I took a shot of that. Perhaps I should have cropped in. I could still crop in if I was going to use the image maybe on an Instagram post or something. But yeah, with that orange and pale coloured, gosh, it almost looks like pale brown or beige, doesn't it, the sky? So we're walking up the High Street and we pass an old bank that is no longer a bank. And this is the sign of the times, because how many high streets have got banks anymore, right? Hardly any. And she said, Grandpa, what's this? Night safe? And I had to go through the whole process of explaining to my 17-year-old that in days of yore, as a retailer, and you ran a shop, you wanted to deposit your takings at the end of the day. And you'd have a pay slip and a swag bag. You'd put your takings in with your pay slip and you'd seal it up and you'd walk to the night safe. You'd have the key, so you'd unlock it, pull it back, pretty much like the charity things, you know, when you discard your old clothes and stuff and you take them to those recycling centres. Same principle, because the bag, the drawer opens and you can't get beyond it. So you put your content, your money, and you close it. Definitely a sign of past times, but I thought, I've got to capture that. Nice. So we decided to walk up the high street to the very end, and as I turned round, there's the old boy on his phone. And it's funny because the older generation, and I say that modestly, I'm 61, so I'm the older generation, but you know, what am I, Gen X? I don't know what the, Gen X, I was born in the 60s. So I'm clued up with tech, even though I'm 61, but then, you know, I've been with tech since the mid-90s, as have the older generation, to be quite honest. Who's to say that he wasn't a Unix developer in the 60s or the 70s, or Cobalt? He may well be, and it's a breeze for him, but it might also be just a calculator. Anyway, I thought I'll capture him before he turns around and disappears, because I like street photography, right? So then I thought we'll go down and we'll see if we can see any shop fronts that represent the independence of the retailers. And they go to town, look at that, they're getting ready for autumn and they painted this nice thing in their window. I've got a reflection of some people walking by in the background, which I thought was nice. And then I saw Eakins Chemist. And my word, that's like something straight out of Dickens. Eakins Chemist. You know, we've got Paydens, we've got Boots, we've got Lloyd's. Who knows about Eakins Chemist? So I had to take a picture of that. And then we walked past a pub front and I thought, oh, look at that with the ambient light and it's all orange and stuff. No one was facing me, but I'm stood in the doorway taking a shot into the pub. I love that kind of photography. I could sit in a pub all evening and just do, maybe that's a challenge for a future video. Just go and prop myself up in the corner of a bar with my Sony Cybershot and take some shots. Yeah, I love that. I love it just for the colours. So again, walking down, I think I've only got 3 more of these for the Hythe. We've got the Wow shop. I have no idea what they sell. Bric-a-brac, nice things for your house, interior decor. Looks like it's that kind of thing. And then we've got Uway, established 1988. It's a baking shop. So, you know, like you can go into a sweetie shop with all the pick and mix and all that kind of stuff. In this shop, they've got all the barrels and they've got dates and apricot slices and nuts and flour and all. And you basically just go and you could, if you were baking a specific cake, you could go in there and you could just weigh out all the ingredients for that specific cake. You know, if you're into spotted dick or a Victoria sponge or, you know, whatever it is, coffee and, what am I thinking? Carrot cake. They had it all. And as we looked through the door, we could see it all inside. Yeah, I love independent shops. I'm not sure how I would use one though. And then at the end of the shop, end of the street, was this antiques shop. And guess what caught my eye? The bike we always wanted. It's almost like the Ford Capri thing, the car you always promised yourself. If you didn't have one, you were envious of your friends having one. I never owned one. I had a normal rally, you know, with square handlebars. And then when I turned 13, my dad bought me a racer. So I got a Rally Scorpio. I never had a chopper. Apart from this one. If I can find the picture, I'll put it here. It's a knockoff, but me and my sisters lived in Indonesia with my parents. And I had a kind of chopper bike there. Okay, a little bit of nature stuff, walking down Denton Lane. Now, I have I did that Autumn Starts Here video, and someone commented after I took a picture of that horse chestnut tree, why don't you do it once a week, take a picture of the horse chestnut, and then do a video at the end. I might have even said that in the last midweek roll. So I did that. I went down there to take a picture, and I caught this wildflower. Can't even tell you what it is. But because of that horse chestnut tree, I'm actually also taking a picture of these two horse chestnuts, if I can remember where they are every week that I go there, so that I might capture them as they begin to open and then drop the horse chestnut. Or is it just a chestnut? Anyway, they're not ready to open yet, but that might happen. And then we got some Clematis vitalba. I think that's how you pronounce it. Old man's beard, which I don't have anymore because I shaved it off because it was annoying me. But I'll probably let it grow again. And then I did a panna while I was stood in the field because I love this kind of, I don't even know what it is. It looks like thistle, but it's stretching from the top left all the way to the bottom right. And they usually have sheep grazing in this field, but they haven't done it this year. They've just left it wild. I thought, wow, it's kind of very browns, isn't it? Browns and hazy in the background. Okay, so Dover Castle on the Saturday morning. I did the video, I took loads of pictures, but there were two that I didn't share on that video. So one is, again, of the Anne Boleyn type character, kind of standing there regally. Now, I don't know if these cosplayers want you to interact with them, want to go up and talk to them, or is it just their job to stand around giving a live ambience to a historic building? But she certainly got the look for me. She looks medieval. Shouldn't say that to her face, though, should I? And anyway, I'm leaving Dover Castle, and I get a glimpse of the castle from a view that I don't normally see. And that's the driveway coming out of the castle and then disappearing onto the main road. I thought, oh yeah, look, we've got the flag on the keep, and we've got the gate there. Is that Peveril's Gate? I can't remember. It's the one that where there's supposed to be haunted in that gate. So yeah, that's a nice view of the castle. I framed it a little with the trees. I was actually sat in the car, so I just wound the window down and took the shot. So then on the Sunday, after doing the Dover Castle, I went to watch my grandson play football. Now, 90 minutes, you think I'd get some cracking shots. 15 minutes in, it stopped. I'll explain why. So standing on the side of the pitch, I can see the white horse through or between the two houses. Obviously not there because it's distant away. But I thought, I'm going to capture that. That's nice. What it does for me, I remember as a schoolboy walking from school to home, and you'd walk past all these different houses, and I always had, and maybe that's why I enjoy photography so much, I had an eye for spying things, and I actually like the red buildings because they're kind of telling me a story. They're basically, I won't go too deeply into it. In fact, I won't go into it at all. But my upbringing was not the smoothest. And so I would walk from school. I suppose it's sad to say I wish I had what my school friends had. I wish I had that family relationship. I wish I had living in that kind of house. So I would be looking at houses like this kind of thing. So it conjures up maybe it's another Hythe, longing for something that you never had. But still feeling that you belong to it. Anyway, that's that scene. I thought, yeah, okay. Here he is, my grandson, taking a free kick. I'm stood on the pitch. Last week, they won 10-0. This week, I don't know what the score was, to be quite honest. They were 4-0 down when I finished. And the reason I finished, and I'll show you here, they were doing a throw-in. So I caught a little bit of action there, which was nice. And then the ball was scuffling around the goals. There's Noah with his kind of like that. He then received a swift kick to the head. And I ended up going to A&E with him. So that was the end of the football match. There was no more football for me, so I couldn't take any more pictures of the, the action. So I will do that again another time. So yeah, there we go. Midweek camera roll number 2. And yeah, sorry it's gone out a day late, but there you go. Drop me a comment, interact with me. Let me know what you think, because obviously I want to continue doing this if it's of interest to anybody. Otherwise it just looks like I'm blowing my own trumpet, doesn't it? Nobody likes a show off. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.